Hello everyone, welcome to United Chokros. AB, how are you feeling today?
DV, I'm very happy, especially with the scoreline, which was completely unexpected. I was thinking that we could be on the losing end or maybe a draw as we are doing it nowadays. But looking at the scoreline 2-0 and that to beating Man City, it's completely unbelievable. The happiness is too good, but now a bit conscious about the upcoming games as well.
Correct.
But if you stick to the Sunday's game, I'm really happy, DV. What about you?
Absolutely, AB. I remember, discussing with you before the game, and you said, bro, it's not. It's going to be another disappointment. We're going to end up. It's going to be a nil-nil draw, and I've had the same feeling because we didn't have games, particularly, the Chelsea game, especially the Palace game. We were unable to create many chances, and I thought it might either be a loss or a draw for us. But Ole and his bandwagon turned the wheels around, and amazing game, superb display, and I want this. I want us to do this regularly and consistently for the remaining 10 games. Quickly getting into this, AB, what are your takeaways from the game? Your man of the match, and what do you think we now need to do from next game onwards? We have still 10 games remaining, so what do we need to do to close in the gap with Man City from now onwards?
Well, for me, the game which was played on Sunday, that is a actual Man United game that we are used to looking, Davy. We want that kind of an attacking game from Man United throughout the rest of the season. I can understand there have been goof ups which have been done in the previous game. There were a couple of draws which you did not expect.
Correct.
Loss against Sheffield is just another example how disappointing the season was. But let's forget the past and now let's continue with what is going on. Let us keep the winning streak on. I think so. Consistency is a key, DV. If we be consistent the way we were on Sunday, I think so we can easily be on number two. I don't expect for us to win the title though. It will be a dream come true. But again, it will be like just daydreaming at this point of time because Man City is way ahead of us.
Correct.
So again, I hope we stay at number two till the end of the season. And we qualify like a king in the Champions League. You don't have to struggle till the last game. We qualify with way our games, in hand. For me, the man of the match, as I said, I just read an article which says it was Roberto Carlos. So for me, it's Luke Shaw. The goal that he scored was simply superb, and the name Roberto Carlos, what was given, was from the legendary left back Roberto Carlos.
Carlos, yes.
He's not exactly the same though, but the goal that he scored, the run that he took from the defense was similar to that of Roberto
Correct,
Carlos.
correct,
For
absolutely.
me, Luke Shaw is the man of the match, David. What about you?
I feel the same way, bro. And what you said rightly, that consistency is the key. We just have, bunch of games left, 10 games to be precise, in the Premier League. I'm not counting the FA Cup and the Europa League. So in the Premier League, we have 10 games. It will be difficult for us, literally impossible for us to, win the trophy. But from now onwards, let's be consistent. Let's get 3 points from all the games and as much as points possible from all the remaining 30 points. And if we, finish better than what we did last season. I'm not talking in terms of the position in terms of points. We had 66 points last season. I expect us to finish anywhere between 75 to 80 this season. That would actually mean a bit progress. Otherwise, I don't think it is a progress, even though we finished second this season. And man of the match for me is always Luke Shaw. Amazing performances, and he's been doing that consistently over this entire season. He's on another level, and I know a lot of people will argue with me and banter me for this, but for me, Luke Shaw is the best left back in Europe, not just England, entire Europe. I know we have left backs like Alfonso Davis and the Liverpool one, but I feel Luke Shaw is right now playing on another level. Absolutely brilliant. He's a champion of a player. The way he's approached the game, amazing performance, and he's doing that consistently. That makes him my man of the match. Also, I want to give a special appreciation to Dean Henderson and Anthony Martial. Both of them had amazing games. Martial silenced all his critics. He literally silenced me. I used to, we had a discussion in the last video about selling Martial if the right opportunity presents. But again, he, shut everyone down. Dominant display. And in terms of holding the ball, I don't think there's anyone better than Anthony Martial. His entire gameplay was brilliant. I thought he could have added a goal. He missed a chance there. He needs to improve that part of his game. So overall, I see an improved from Martial and Dean Henderson. What an amazing performance. He's grabbed the opportunity with both his hands. His distribution is brilliant. His save is brilliant. And when you're given the opportunity, this is what you need to do. You have to grab it with both your hands and prove yourself. And that's exactly what Dean Henderson has done. So for me, nothing wrong to talk about except for a bunch of misplaced passes from Fred and McTominay at times. Overall, we need to improve. But right now, I'll take 3 points and be happy. Which actually brings me to my next question. We are talking about the league position and getting number of points. I've seen a lot of people on social media forget about what's happened in the previous month. I do not want. Yes, we are happy about this. We're all excited, but I do not want us to forget what happened in the past 1 month since January 4th. After that Villa game, we have played really poorly at times. The game against West Bromwich Albion, the Sheffield United game, Crystal Palace game in the midweek. Let's not forget what has happened. And let's check where Man City is at right now. Let's say if we win, we do better in this next 10 games, we finish second. But what next? What after that? Is finishing second to Manchester City an achievement? Because if you look at Man City, not just they have wonderful coach, they're wonderful player. I'm keeping that aside. They have a wonderful balanced structure in the football, in the club. They have footballing people handling making the footballing decisions. If you see their signings, yes, they have spent a lot, but they haven't signed any player above 60 to 65 million, which shows their approach is so good in the transfer window. They scout players, they know what kind of players they want to buy. Bernardo Silva 53 million, Ruben Diaz 60 million, Rodri 50 or 65 million. Again, Riyad Mahrez, same amount of money. So they don't spend over 60 to 65 million and they buy really, really good players, which we fail to do. We do not have a structure here. We are bankers, investment bankers, and lawyers looking after our transfer window. We do not have a structure as football. We just go and buy players that a manager or scouts feel like. There is no proper footballing people to make the decisions. So do you think in spite of finishing second, will this be another Jose Mourinho thing? Wherein he finished second and then did not get backed and he got sacked later. Will the same thing happen to Solskjaer or will we improve next season?
Well, DV, until unless there is no transfer done, a quality player transfer done, I don't think so. We will, survive in the next season as well. Luckily, this season many players have clicked. Last season, Rashford was not up to the mark, but this season he's doing a superb job on the flank. Uh, Bruno, as always, been the best player I would say for us throughout the season, even for the last season. But there has to be someone just like Bruno or Rashford whom we can rely on, which we are really lacking at this point of time. So if there is no quality signing which is being done right now, it will always be again another Jose Mourinho case. Again, see, the only thing is the manager knows what player he wants in the team. He can only go up and he can just put his voice forward that he wants this particular player. But when he does not get a player, then it's very much wrong on our part also to blame the manager, because he's really requested for a player that he knows that has the potential, and once he comes into the squad, it can be a much better squad. But looking at our transfer season, our transfer market, it is so poor, and Ed Woodward is the only one who's to be blamed for this. And also, our board of directors are not appointing a football director for our club. I think so. They have too much of confidence on Ed Woodward, even after so much of a failed transfer market.
Disaster.
Not
Disaster,
once, not twice. And maybe if this continues on DV, it's going to be much more difficult in the next season. So my answer would be the same. If there is no quality transfer done, it will be very difficult. Coming back to your question, uh, is it an achievement or not? For me, yes, I do think it's an achievement to be at number two right now, because if you see Man City, they have all quality players. When I say quality players, is that one, for example, if they're starting 11, even if a single player is injured, they have an equal potential player who's on the bench. So it does not actually
exactly.
matter to them that if their player is injured, they're absolutely fine because they have an equal potential player sitting on the bench anytime ready to be substituted. And the moment he's done, he's bang on target. So for me to be number two against such a big team and to defeat them convincingly by 2-0, it's a very big achievement. Also, not to forget, in our league, we have teams like Liverpool, who was simply superb the last season. We have Chelsea, who are backing up a good time. We have tough teams which are fighting against us, but even after such lack of performances, lot amount of draw games, still we are number two, I think. So that's an achievement for us. But nevertheless, I would still want our team to be number one. But looking at this season, to be very frank enough, I don't see us being number one. I'm convinced with the second position to be, but not less than number two. What do you feel, Divi?
Yeah, absolutely. As you rightly said, yes, the progress is there. There is manager wasn't backed again in the transfer window. He wanted a centre back and he wanted Sancho. And I do feel signing centre back and Sancho would have taken us to another level. Maybe we would have not won the title, but the gap would have not been 11 points right now. We would have done much better. And you rightly said, it's just not just signing. You have to make quality signings. It's not just United. Not that United haven't done signings in the past. We have signed players, but we don't sign the right type of player. That is the problem, and that's what separates us from clubs like Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Bayern, Barcelona, because they have footballing people making their footballing decisions, not bankers and lawyers handling transfers. So, yeah, this is a very interesting point you brought up: quality, buying quality players. That brings me to my next question. We all know that we have a centre back situation at our club, and looking at the news and rumors and everything, we all know a centre back will be bought. Now, I'm not going to talk about buying someone like Tarkowski or Ben White or Tyrone Mings. Okay, so I'm going to throw a question to you, AB. It's very interesting. Yeah, I want to know what is your answer. Do you go into the summer transfer window buying someone like Pau Torres, Badashil, or Ibrahima Konate, or Jules Konde, who are young players, young promising centre backs, who are going to be really big, huge, with huge potential, and they may become a superstar in upcoming years. And they already fulfilled the potential at their respective club right now. So, do you buy such players and risk another Donny van der Beek situation? Because there is a big question mark whether if you sign such players like Kunde or Ibrahima Konate or Badashil, will they directly replace Maguire or Lindelof, or we will see Donny van der Beek situation again, wherein we buy Donny van der Beek, but we play Fred McTominay again, or do you go for Varane and Koulibaly, or top quality centre backs, wherein if you buy these centre backs, there is no way you can put them on the bench. You cannot buy Varane and put them on the bench. You cannot buy Koulibaly and put them on the bench. They go straight in our starting lineup. But there is a price to pay. They won't cost anything less than 60 million. Plus, they are around 28, 30. Varane's to 28, Koulibaly's 30. So they won't last long. But yes, it's right now it will fix the situation for another 2 3 years. But buying those other centre backs will fix the situation for another like 5 6 years down the line. So we don't have to look to buy a centre back after 2 3 years. So what would you do? Do you risk buying these centre backs, or straight away buy someone like Varane or Koulibaly?
DV, I would certainly go with Rafael Varane. There's no second point in my mind because we have wasted enough of time waiting for a centre back.
Correct.
And it's, centre back is a need of the hour. We need centre back at the earliest because you can, the moment you keep giving matches to Lindelof, more or less, he is bound to make those errors. We are again going to blame him. We are again going to blame the manager. But ultimately, we do not have a quality centre back right now at this point of time. Yes, we do have Eric Bailly. I do like him over Lindelof. But as we have always spoken, he goes too rash at times in the tackles. He's playing good, but he's not being consistent. Again, that's the
Injury,
key.
a lot of
There is no
injury issue with
consistency.
Ekbai as well.
Exactly. So I think so. It's Rafael Varane who has to come to United because, as you said very correctly, the moment he comes, he'll be in the starting 11, and that is what we need. We need the centre back to start right now and have an impact at the first game itself. We cannot give them opportunity to play like another 5 to 6 games, and then we understand their potential. Okay, maybe not a centre back. He plays better as a right back. He's not able to judge the passes or whatever the thing is. But I think so. The perfect position right now for our team to get into a centre back position would be Rafael Varane. What do you think?
Absolutely, bro. I agree to you. Yes, it would make sense if we were Man City. If we were in Man City's position, I would have definitely bought someone like Konate or Kunde, or even someone like Badashil. Who will come into a team which is already has world class defenders. He will take his time to settle in. Over 2 3 years. He can become another world class defender. But right now we need quick fix. We've tired of experimenting players. We want someone who will straight away get into the starting lineup. Someone like Varane and Koulibaly, both are leaders at the back. They are strong, dominant, Varane's won multiple Champions League with Real Madrid. We all know Koulibaly's potential. He's as good as Van Dijk. So these two players will make that impact. But we have to, yes, we will end up spending around 50, 60 million, but it will be worth. It will make a, that defense will be straight away, what you can say, a title winning defense because we got Shaw and Van Bissaka rapidly improving over the games. Maguire, I don't think Maguire is bad enough. He needs a good partner with him. And I don't even think Lindelof is bad enough because it's just that they don't complement each other. They are two similar players who can't play, and centre backs always work in pairing. That's the most
Absolutely.
important thing about centre backs. Ferdinand Vidic, Bruce Pallister, they were good pairs. Lindelof and Maguire aren't good, don't work together as a good centre back pairing. So we need one centre back like Varane or Koulibaly who is quick, who is strong in the air, who is dominant and can change the complete complexity of the team. So I completely agree with you on this. We need either Varane or Koulibaly, a centre back of that quality at this club. And absolutely, yes, this is what is only going to improve because if we sign other centre backs, may or may not, it's a big risk, big risk. He may not trust them again. It'll be another Donny Van de Beek situation. So I don't want that to happen. So yes, I agree with you on that point. And talking about transfers, AB, I always prepare a set of questions, when we go, on video. But something I saw today afternoon, I couldn't resist. So I'm going to ask you about this. Man United are strongly and heavily linked to Erling Haaland. Now, according to me, signing Haaland is more of a comfort and luxury. But when you have player like Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe, Rio Ferdinand rightly said, you cannot let him slip to side like Man City or Liverpool or Real Madrid. Erling Haaland is a world class player, but do we create enough chances to have a situation wherein we can buy Erling Haaland? Erling Haaland is a supreme number 9, but we don't create enough chances. You remove Bruno from that team. Let's say Bruno gets injured next season. Paul Pogba has gone to Juventus or Real Madrid. Who do we have in our squad to create chances? Fred and McTominay don't create that much. We rely entirely on Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba to create, and these two don't create chances. So, is it pointless? Because see, it's a bit of very strange situation. I know that Man United won't buy him at the end because if Erling Haaland is smart enough, he won't come to Man United. But when you have a situation wherein a world class player is available, you don't buy him. But you don't buy him. So it's literally Man City are going to win the title if they buy Erling Haaland. And if Liverpool buy him again, they are title contenders. So do you let him go or do you buy him and let us, slip the chance of buying a quality player in the center of the park who will create more chances? So what would you do? Sign Erling Haaland or sign a player position which is required to to complete?
Well, I think so. I would sign Erling Haaland is because more or less I don't see us much in attacking space right now. For me, there are only two finishers that I see in the team. It is either Rashford, on whom I can completely rely on, or it's Bruno Fernandes. There has to be a number three as well. And Erling Haaland is a perfect, it's a perfect example that he would have set in case he would have been, signed at the start of this season. We could have seen a big difference if that would have happened. Nevertheless, he's doing a wonderful job in his current club right now. And bringing him here in the Premier League and starting against a team like Man City, at times all these are some mental games also which plays in the players' minds. Even if the players are not performing or something, but the name itself creates a panic in the mind of the defenders,
Exactly.
and such players are required. And I think so. Erling Haaland is young. Number one, he is having a superb career from the moment he started it, and he's doing a superb job in his current club as well. So it's not that he's out of form, but just because of his name, we can bring him to our club and threaten the opposition team. He's currently in a very good form, I think so, and I don't have any reason to say a no to Erling Haaland. So I would rather see him in our squad rather than seeing him Man City and having a good, big time, difficult time for us with Sterling, Mahrez, De Bruyne, and adding to it Erling Haaland. What do you feel? Do you want him in the squad or you want him to be in any other club?
Yeah, it's a very difficult question because, like Rio Ferdinand rightly said, I was amazed by the way he said, I was really like his comment when he said, when you have people like Mbappe and Erling Haaland available in transfer window, a club like Man United, if you're ambitious enough, you should go for such players. The problem here I have is, if we sign Erling Haaland, it will be nothing less than 100 million. You see what Dortmund did with Jadon Sancho. They did not budge on the price, and they won't budge on the price because it's like an asset to them. They will make money out of those players. And is our board competent enough to sign Erling Haaland and a centre back as well? Do you think we'll sign 100 million? We'll spend 100 million for Erling Haaland and then sign 60 million. We were talking about getting Koulibaly and Varane. So it's not going to happen. That's what I'm scared of. We will go for Erling Haaland, and in it will be a repeat of Sancho. The entire transfer window we spent, uh, you know, talking about Sancho and discussing about him, and so much he was linked, and we thought at the end of the window we will get him, but we did not end up buying him. I'm really scared it won't, and we'll miss out on signing a centre back and a defensive midfield. That's my only scare. Otherwise, I would love Erling Haaland to come to Man United. It's going to be a wonderful signing, and Ole and Haaland know each other from the beginning. So he's played for Ole at Molde, so that relation he has, and he will do better at Man United if Ole is in charge. That's what I feel. So yeah, I really
But
hope that.
I just wanted to add one thing. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, as you said, if it's regarding the money part, if it's
Hmm.
100 million and they're not going to sign Haaland, I think so they should keep that aside if that's the need of the hour.
Hmm.
But we need a centre back anyhow.
Correct.
That
Absolutely.
cannot be compromised. Just because you waited for an Haaland, you were looking for the transfer amount, and you were just waiting for that. You cannot leave a centre back. We need a centre back anyhow. Even if there's no striker that is being signed in the current the coming up
Hmm.
upcoming transfer market, I'm absolutely fine with that. But we need a centre back, and anyhow, it has to happen because I've been saying it from the start of the previous season that it has to happen, and it has to happen at least this time, Dave. We cannot miss out on a centre back this time.
Absolutely, bro. You're right. Centre back is a need of our. There's no higher priority than buying a centre back this summer. So that is going to fix our situation in defense. We are going to stop leaking those goals. Now, lastly, AB, there's a Europa League game against AC Milan in the midweek, and we've had some wonderful ties over the past, few years. I remember that Wayne Rooney goals he scored against Milan, both away, home and away. So we have some, memory of this tie. We expected, that we will face Zlatan, but unfortunately, Zlatan has been ruled out due to injury. What do you expect? Do you expect us to go and win this tie over both legs, or do you think we may compromise Europa League in order to do better in Premier League?
No, not at all, DV. I don't think so. We are going to compromise because it's very clear from Ole that he wants us to win the Europa League. The moment we were out of Champions League, he was very clear with his approach that we want to win the Europa League. Because even at that time we were not that good at the Premier League. We were
Hmm.
quite down at the league table. So he was very much focused with the Europa League, and I think so that focus is quite strong. If you look at the squad, also whichever games he has put it across on any game, our squad has been the strongest. If I see for the entire Europa season, so I think so we would be on a very good note, DV. I think so we would win both the games.
Correct.
He would go with a very strong team, and especially after the Sunday's game, the morale will be quite high of most of the players. I think so that morale should be continued. And as I said, consistency is the key. So if they're consistent, if they take all the positive from the Sunday's game, there is nothing that will be taken back against the game against AC Milan. And as I said, that mentality it actually works at times when you beat a top team like
Top
Man
team, yeah.
City. Yeah, the players do feel that if we can beat them, we can beat any other club as well. So if that's the thinking, and that's the mentality that the player will take on the game, then I don't think so AC Milan or any other club can stop us, DV. What do
Yeah,
you feel?
yeah, bro, absolutely. I mean, if we play the same way we played against Man City, I think nobody can stop us. Together as a team, we are really good. I know we are missing out two or three players, but it's not that we are a bad squad. If every player does their job, if every player contributes in their own way, we can go on a winning run. We've seen that in the past. Last season after the lockdown, we've done that. So it's not that it's us. The squad is not, possible of doing this. We have done that in the past, and I think if we focus and not lose our concentration and do what we've done on Sunday, we will win the Europe. Just not just Europa League. We'll end up winning the FAL Cup, and we might, close the gap with Man City as well. So yes, before I end the video, yes, I want us to be positive and win the midweek game, and then we have an important game against West Ham over the weekend as well. So three big games coming up. I want Man United to rest Marcus Rashford because he's nursing an injury, and I do not want Marcus Rashford to play in those games. And just for 3 games, just for making him play those 3 games, getting him injured for the rest of the season. He is Marcus Rashford is a very important squad member of the squad, and we need him till the end of the season. So let's rest him for the Milan game. Let Greenwood and James play on the flank, and maybe if we want, we could rest him for the West Ham game and the other Europa League tie as well. But he's played a lot of games. He's played maximum amount of minutes in it, man, in for us. And in fact, if you look at the maximum number of minutes played by a player in Premier League, Maguire, Fernandes, and Rashford top that list. So there's a lot of fatigue, and they needed to be rested. So for me, that's the only thing that Rashford needs to be rested. If possible, we can rest Maguire as well and play Bay and Lindelof together or Twanzebe. Let's see what Oli does. And anything you want to add up before I end the show?
No, as I said very correctly, instead of Rashford, you can even play Martial on the wing because he has a very good, the way he brings the ball from the flanks, the way he gets inside the box, that's quite he does it very nicely. And as you said, the one-touch pass, the ball control that Martial has, it's very good to see that, which we saw in the Sunday's game as well. And maybe as a striker, we can keep Cavani because he's available. So, maybe Martial can grab that opportunity when Rashford is not there and, get that, when the trust goes actually from you, when the people stop trusting you, that's the time when you start performing. And that's what Martial has done in the Sunday's game as well. So maybe he's back in the form, DV. Just hope he does the same against AC Milan. Rest everything would fall in place, I feel.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching this show. And me and AB will close the show on a very positive note. Very good game at the weekend, and then we play against Milan and hoping to win that game. Guys, show your love and support by subscribing to our channel and let us know your opinion in the comment section. They are very important to us. They matter to us a lot. Let us know what you feel about us, the video, your opinion on Man United. We spoke about transfers. Who do you think that we need to buy in the summer transfer window to improve our squad? All that we need to your opinion in the comment section. Thank you very much, guys, once again for watching the show. We'll see you at the weekend after the West Ham game. Bye for now.
Bye.